Hello everyone and welcome back to ATM7 to the sky. So we made our mission last episode to get some farming up and running through mystical agriculture, and we're now farming inferium seeds needed for insanium for the ATM star. I made some modifications to this, increasing the radius by 1 block and also filled out the whole field with seeds. The essence is then crafted all the way up to Insanium Essence, and that is sent back to our base here for storage. You may remember that we also get Inferium Essence from the sieves. I hooked up an extra ender chest, and that is connected to this top one here, which also imports everything into this crafter. So now everything goes straight into Insanium Essence. And just in the short amount of time we've had it running, we're already up over a stack. We're at 71 Insanium. That's Insanium. We got access to the Aldemodium, Unobtainium, and Vibranium ores. And finally, we got Wireless AE. This is a really nice thing to have. Alright, so let's do a little recap on our progress towards the ATM star. The creative essence we can effectively tick off our list. All we have to do is expand the farms if we need more. We're making nether stars, and similarly we can also expand the production of this if we need more in the future. These 2 Botania runes we should be able to make. There might be 1 or 2 input items which we'll come back to at a later date, but the runic altar itself is automated. Apart from those things though, we still have a long ways to go. So today we're going to make some more progress, and we're going to build Block Factory 2.0. This thing which we made in, I think, episode 3 is to make blocks like terracotta and concrete to build our base with. However, in the star recipe, there is the requirement for the dimensional seed. And the recipe for the seed requires us to have 4x compressed obsidian, soul sand, netherrack, endstone, emerald, red sand, times 2, clay, and blackstone. Before we add anything else onto our base though, let's start removing some stuff and cleaning up this area that we've had here. It's looking a bit of a mess. I don't want to allow this to get too out of hand. Yeah, and we don't need this old reactor here anymore. We've built up actually a decent amount of cyanite. I don't know if we're going to actually use this or not. It's used for making the next tier of reactor, the turbine. But we're out of fuel for this thing, and it doesn't even come close to matching the power reactors. So it's time for this thing to go. Everything here lines up perfectly, right? I mean, I hope so. It is actually all in center, yeah. Can you imagine it was all off by 1 block over there? I think I would have to tear it down and redo it, honestly. I couldn't live with myself. Hey. So the first step to our project here is to figure out the generation methods for all of these blocks that we need. The compressing steps is very easy. We just have to make sure we leave some space for crafters, which in theory can go anywhere in our base. We're 6 short. Wow, look at this. That's definitely faster, right? For sure. Also, there actually is a round robin mode in XNet. I knew this thing existed. Is it worth waiting here? We already have 4. We have 5 again. Let's see how long it takes for us to get another 1. Oh, there it is. That was like, what, 30 seconds, I think? Something like that. Maybe not even 30 seconds. So 1 insanium every 30 seconds. That's definitely fast enough. There's technically some other things that we can do. Oops. I guess we had some insanium in our AE system. Definitely did not mean to make 41. Alright, there we go. Alright, anyways, of the 8 different types of blocks that we need, red sand for sure we need the most of. Wow, this guy literally just spawned right behind me, again. Also, I noticed this thing has 113 attack damage, that's insane. Mystical agriculture is going to be our last resort. I don't know if there's any other options. We could use Botania mana. There is potentially also bees, which we still have to look at. I really want to get into bees. Although I think we're going to save the bees for another resource. I think I might have a plan though. So after building out a space for us to work in, I wanted to go with the create mod for this. And if we're going to be doing a lot of create, I think it's a good idea to get some automations up and running. So I set up a phytogenic insulator to grow us kelp. It's a very simple setup, the same as the rest of the machines on the line. And once we add that to our AE system, we can encode some of the recipes, mainly the mechanical belt, which is made from smelted kelp. I also went ahead and set up 2 multi-servo presses to give us the ability to create plates on demand. And we're going to use some of these plates to aid our production of electric motors. This is going to allow us to fuel our whole create system with RF, and means we can avoid having to go with the vanilla create stress unit generation methods. There isn't really a super easy way to automate these crafters. You basically have to have 1 set per recipe, and you have to match up the location of the input items to where it says in JEI. I just went with XNet for this. And once we get everything filtered and plugged in, We also have to give these crafters rotational force. We can do that with another electric motor, which is actually what we're trying to craft here. But yeah, these things basically just convert RF into rotational force. And you can select the speed you want these to run at as well. Alright, so everything is spinning here. Let's try to request the motor. I've got the recipe encoded already. Please work. I think it's working. Oh yes, that is awesome. Nice. Oh no, that's not where we want it. It's going to pop off here. Yep. These things have to point down. I've got a chest or a barrel underneath. The barrel is going to take it back to the pattern provider, and that's going to put it back in our AE system. One more time for good luck. Now everything should end up in the bottom one. Yeah. And in the barrel, and in our AE system. Nice. And we're going to use those things to power this system here. I know it looks like quite a lot here, but I kind of went back on what I said earlier about the crafters can be anywhere. I think with this block factory, we're going to start and work backwards. So these drawers on the front here are going to be for each of the 8 different compressed blocks that we need that we have pinned. And yes, I know all of this could be done with 8 different crafters. Completely unnecessary to do it like this. But you know, it looks way better. It looks so much better like this. Let me see if I can show you what exactly is going on here. So if we take some endstone, for example, this basically just compacts it 9 at a time. It's going to stamp the block. It automatically outputs to the depot, and then the brass funnel pulls it into the next basin. And once there's 9 in there, this is the 2x compressed. That's going to stamp it into 3x compressed, and then 4x compressed, output to the belt, and then input to the drawer here. We still have to get all the belts and things rolling. We'll also need a funnel on all of these drawers to input. So what we have to do from here now is hook up all of the inputs to this thing. This is where I'm afraid things get a little bit spaghetti. I really want to keep things nice and straight, but since we're going to be generating things in different ways, I don't think that's going to be possible, so we just have to try our best here. So starting with the red sand, if we crush granite, yeah, we can crush granite in the crushing wheels and we get straight red sand from this. So we can have our crushing wheels right around here, and to generate the granite, we're going to use igneous extruders. I think we might go with 2 for this. We need to have polished granite underneath, and a bucket of water and lava on each side. Oh yeah, and the fact that we now have the wireless AE terminal straight in AE, it's not an add-on mod. You can actually pick up buckets straight from your terminal. Look how awesome that is. I think it works with lava as well. In theory, it should work with any fluid. That is really awesome. So yeah, we're making granite this way. We should give it an integral component. There, now we're getting 4 at once. And I think we can just pipe that straight onto the belt like this. Yeah, once the belt starts rolling, it should send its way onto the crushers, which we have to spin in opposite directions. This is always the tricky part of Create, getting all this spinning the right way. However, with just some gearboxes, I say we got a working red sand compressor here. Wait, it's making sandstone. No, wait, this is not this is not what we want. Yeah, there is definitely a recipe for this. I think what we need here though is the Create filter. That should allow us to specify that we want it to compress the sand in 3x3 rather than 2x2 to make sandstone. I think we just have to get all the sandstone out of the system here. I think we should only need it on the first one, since after that the only recipe available is to compress it further. We're also going to change this so that it goes to a drawer first, and then if we use a brass funnel, it means that we can specify the exact amount that we want to send at once. So we can send this all the way up to 64, and that should speed it up overall, as long as we can produce enough granite. Alright, nice, that's 1 of 8 finished. As part of this dimensional seed, we also have to create emeralds. So emeralds we are getting from our sieve setup, so we're getting this from gravel. I noticed though before I set that up that we're actually capped on the drawer. With the 1 diamond upgrade, it allows us to get 49,000, and we're at 49,000, so we've been voiding emeralds for a while. Let's for sure at least fix that. We're going to put some netherite upgrades on this. Just 1 netherite upgrade takes us to 1.6 million. Sure, we might have to look at another emerald generation method. I don't know if the sieves on its own is going to be fast enough, but what we can do is just pull from AE. And conveniently we have a P2P connection right here. We're only using 10 channels. So somehow we have to extend that down, hook up an interface, and then plug it into one of the inputs here. I think I've also decided at this point we're going to include a wall right here at this level, and that way we can just have things coming out of a tunnel like this. It's going to look cool coming out of the wall, and we can basically just hide everything that's back here. We don't have to worry so much about this being all symmetrical back here. A really cool thing about doing it this way is we can also hide all of these motors which power the mechanical presses, and if you click on andesite casing, it actually can hide the shaft as well. Oh, this is going to look so cool when it's finished. All of these pressing blocks all at once. Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Okay, time to get to work. No more messing around. We got the concept down, it's time to hook this thing up. Alright, check it out. I think we're almost done here. We're almost done. Just got done here with the blackstone. We have one more to go, but we'll discuss that later on. First of all though, after the one with the granite, I set up the emeralds. We are pulling from an AE interface, but we don't want to use all of our emeralds, right? So to make sure that doesn't happen, we have a level emitter here set to only emit a redstone signal when we're above 50,000. Whenever that happens, this item pipe turns on. This is only active with a signal. And because we're given it emerald gems and not emerald blocks, we need to have an extra mechanical press because it goes blocks to 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x. But we're giving it gems, right? So we first go into a compacting drawer. We also filter the funnel so that we extract the right thing from the drawer. After that, I set up obsidian on the opposite side, an exact copy of the emerald. We're filtering this for only above 8,000. Obsidian we set up a few episodes ago after we set up lava generation. And that is sent across the path over here to some stone barrels above some water. Or below some water, I guess I should say. It looks like we're now not buffering lava, but we don't really use lava for too much. And it is round robin between the buffer that we have in AE, which is actually quite a large buffer. We're still sitting at 8,000 buckets of lava in AE, so it distributes it between that and producing obsidian also. And then we also have endstone, blackstone, and netherrack being made in igneous extruders. These are pretty self-explanatory. Again, just goes through the tunnel and gets compressed. And the final one we have set up here is for soul sand. We're crushing cobblestone into gravel, gravel into sand. You guys know the drill by now. We've done this like, I don't know, 10 times around the base. All it costs us really is power and investment in machines, which is nothing at this stage of the game. So yeah, whenever you blow an encased fan through soulfire, you can turn regular sand into soul sand. And then we just filter the tunnel that's here, and again the soul sand just goes through and gets compressed like the rest of the blocks. It looks like we're yet to get the blackstone, although that was the last one I set up. We're still yet to get endstone. We are yet to get soul sand, although we're close. We have 6 3x compressed. We're yet to get obsidian. Obsidian is the one I'm concerned the most about, honestly. But we do have a few red sand, which is good. That's the one we need the most of. And we have 1 netherrack so far. What is this one? Emeralds? Yeah, emeralds I'm also a bit concerned about, honestly. But yeah, this one on the left here doesn't have anything hooked up. This one is reserved for clay. The other 7 we can take off our pin list. How much insanium are we at, by the way? 700, wow. Okay, for sure we do not need to buff or farm anymore. Anyways, before we look at any clay automations, I would like to do some more applied energistics 2 today. We removed the temporary machines at the beginning of the episode, and with that was our inscriber. And we don't have any way to make inscriber recipes anymore, so I think we should look at some automation for this. So there's 3 processors we have to be able to make, right? I noticed there was an alternate recipe in the circuit etcher. I kind of want to see if this is faster than the advanced inscriber. However, to make this, it's going to be a huge rabbit hole. We have to start by dedicating one of our furnaces to blasting. That way we can give it the recipe for ender dust. And we have to throw ender dust, skystone dust, and diamonds in water for 20 minutes. Wait, it's almost instant. Or maybe I just misread JEI. Okay, I'll take that. Good deal, good deal. Oh, wait a minute, I spoke too soon. We have to turn it into the seeds, and then we throw these in water. Normally with the other ones though, it gives you an enrichment chamber recipe. That doesn't appear to be the case here. Unless perhaps it works in the crystal growth chamber. Yeah, we should be able to make these. Let's get some recipes for these. I'm hoping the recipe just isn't listed in JEI. Haha, we're in business. It turns out it does work in this thing. So our new crystals allow us to get the matter infuser. And with this, we should be able to make the other stuff. Yeah, and with the matter infuser we can make fluic steel. We also have to be able to make carbonic fluic steel, which is also made in the matter infuser. So yeah, we can set up some pattern providers and encode the recipes for carbonic fluics and fluic steel. Now we should be able to request fluic steel, right? Oh, we need coal dust. We currently have no way of making dust right now, so let's fix that. Let's add a crusher. Input and output from the bottom side. You know what? We might as well upgrade it while we're here. We'll give it a tier installer. Okay, we are almost there. We need to be able to make a singularity. We want to condense into singularities. We have to give this thing 256,000 items. I don't know if we have 256,000 of anything. I mean, we have a few dusts here, but we don't want to give it that, right? You know, I feel like this might be a lesson on why you should upgrade your buffers much, much sooner. Especially for things like the blocks of cobblestone and whatnot. Let's give some of these things some upgrades. And let's also stop voiding the outputs of our sieves. I'm going to give a netherite upgrade to all of these things. Capacity for 2.1 billion diamonds. If we reach that, then, I don't know, we can start voiding them at that point, I guess. Yeah, same with netherite, we need a lot of netherite. I want to also make sure that we can duplicate the presses that we already have. Since they're used in the universal press recipe, we can do that just with an iron block in the inscriber. There's the calculation, the silicon, engineering, and the logic. I know what you're thinking, this might be a bit ridiculous. It totally is, but I'm a bit impatient today. This is giving us cobblestone at a decent rate. It should only be a few minutes, honestly. Also, the benefit to using the circuit etcher over the inscriber is we don't have to make the circuits first and then combine to the logic processors. We can go straight from the base material into the circuit. Since we have a few minutes to wait on the singularity though, I think we're going to take some time and upgrade our reactors. They're currently at the spirited tier, but now that we have access to our nether stars, we should be able to go to the final tier, the nitro. We're already at 12,000 by the way, that's awesome. Nitro, we need nitro crystals, which we can also do with mystical agriculture. But the way we're going to do it is with the energizing orb, nether star, 2 blocks of redstone and a blazing crystal. All we have to do is add some extra rods onto this setup. Yeah, we give the pattern provider the recipe, and make sure we filter the import bus to only import niotic crystals. Or nitro crystals, I mean. I am also going to switch the rest of the tiers to do full blocks. I think it's going to be faster that way. And we can also give it more rods, which you guys commented plenty on. I did see your comments. We're going to upgrade these rods as well, I think, to the final tier. And we can probably double them up on the back here, maybe? Yeah, that seems to work like this. After switching out all of the recipes, and getting our hands on the first few nitro crystals, we got all the cables and the rods upgraded to the final tier. And then one by one, I upgraded all of our reactors. Inputs stay exactly the same, except now we're generating much more RF. And once we have all 4 at nitro tier, we're going to be generating 2 million RF per tick. It takes it from 90 odd thousand. Yeah, maximum of 100,000 on the spirited. The nitro can go up to 500,000. And of course we have 4 of them. Oh, and looks like we've got our singularity. Nice, awesome. Let's build the rest of the reactors first. This is reactor number 2. Oh yeah, make sure we switch auto mode. I almost forgot about this. Reactor 3. And the final reactor to complete the set. Nice. Alright, so now we want to make the universal press. We'll make sure to duplicate this a few times in the inscriber, just to save making more singularities. Although I think I might leave this running just to make a few more. It's free anyway, all it costs us is time. We have a lot of that to work with. Yeah, we'll make a few universal presses, and with this we can make a few circuit etchers. Right, circuit etchers, that's what they're called? Yeah. It's just going to be some fluke steel and some extra AE components. The last thing we need, which I think we don't have yet, is these printed parallel circuits. These are made from the resonating crystals we just made earlier on. I think we only have to do this once though. Once we have the circuit etcher, we can skip the intermediate steps in the inscriber. And after a little bit of crafting, we can make our 2 flux aggregators. And I have 4 circuit etchers. There we go. These things can automatically pull and push from the same side. We just have to make sure we set auto extract and IO from the bottom. We also have to provide power, we can do that on the back. And that's basically us done, we just have to set some recipes now. The Flux aggregator allows us to make the Flux crystals, as well as the Certus quartz crystals. We actually don't need this recipe here since we get Flux dust from 7. So we just need the recipe for the pure crystals, as they used to be called, basically. Hello again. See ya. Yeah, so pure Certus, pure resonating. Oh, we can make charged Certus quartz this way as well, and why not? I think that's it for the aggregators though. In the circuit etchers, we want the parallel processor, the engineering processor, calculation, and logic should be the last one. I think we might actually make 3 of each recipe. That way we can have all 3 machines doing whatever we request at once. It should parallelize the craft. I can't say that. Every time I've said that in a video, it's never the first time. But we're going to leave that in. These things will also accept up to 8 acceleration cards. Let's max them all out, I guess. And don't forget to plug it in as well. Oh, look how fast we're making engineering processors. Oh, this is awesome. We basically have infinite AE stuff. Oh, this is amazing. We should have done that a long time ago. I've been batch crafting in the inscriber manually, and that thing takes way too long. We don't need this pool of water anymore either. So yeah, we're left with the requirement for clay on the end here. Well, it looks like we have built up some soul sand by now. 4x compressed, as well as, what is this, obsidian? Yeah, we got 2 obsidian and a few blackstone on the end here. You may remember that we are actually already producing clay up here in the floor. We're making this from dust, which we then send through a barrel with water, and that makes us clay. If all else fails, then we're just going to take from this drawer right here, and we'll set up a similar system to emeralds. But I also noticed that there's a second option. We can also use DML for this. However, we do need something called a teracube. Teracubes are a Tinker's Construct mob, which usually spawn in the islands in the overworld. Obviously, there are no islands in the skyblock, right? So how do we get teracubes? Well, there exists a mod called Spirit, not something I've ever played with before, but this thing can allow us to actually summon mobs, and we can target exactly what we want. Among those is the teracube. I guess first of all we need to get the pedestal, the soul pedestal. Okay, I did some digging around. I think we need to start with a soul fire and we throw glowstone without our magnet on. Let's try that again. Is it working? Slowly. I guess it is. Yeah, we're getting soul powder. With the soul powder, we can make soul powder blocks. Yep, once we have 4, we can throw iron. This should give us the soul steel. Oh, only 1. And it broke our soul powder. Oh, this is going to take forever. Okay. It's actually not too bad if you have a lot of these fires. Once we sacrifice enough stuff to the fire, we have to craft up the soul crystal and the sword. And you can see after we kill some slime, it does go up in levels. I don't think you need too much for summoning though, honestly. Since the crystal is assigned to slime, we can then put that on the middle pedestal. And we should just be able to arrange 4 blocks of clay on the 4 cardinal directions. And then 2 grass blocks and 2 sand blocks. And then right click with an empty hand. Fancy, fancy particles, and we get our terra cubes. All we need to do now is level our data model. Oh, this thing does no damage. I think I'll stick with my pickaxe. This is actually a really cool mod. I believe it does give you a form of spawners as well. But I think the apotheosis ones are actually better. I may end up getting a few more of these terra cube data models. However, if we run these in our simulation chambers, we can actually loot fabricate this straight into either clay balls or clay blocks. Obviously we want to go for the clay blocks so we can compress, right? I think all we have to do is add it to a loot fabricator and partition some cells here. Yeah, you know what? Before we take this down, I'm going to get a few more of those data models. Alright, that's it. I'm tired of this rain. It's time to get rid of it. First of all, we need a phytogenic insulator. We need to give water, we need to give energy. And we have to farm sunflowers. I forget how slow these things are. Wow. Let's get an integral component. Oh yeah, speaking of the integral components, these take Enderium, right? It was very kindly pointed out on Discord that there is actually induction smelter recipes, even though it doesn't show in JEI. But we are making the 1x compressed Enderium block, so I guess 81 Enderium at once. Now then, if we feed a sunflower to this Terra Bozu, it's going to stop the rain. Aha! It does work. Awesome. And I don't think this thing needs any mana either. Let me just double check. It actually doesn't appear like that is the case, so let's set up a little circuit here to automate this flower, whatever it's called. You guys know how to pronounce this thing? Let's put it over here actually. So I believe this thing does work with vanilla redstone. I think we can just put a dispenser above it and fill this with the sunflowers, which we can get from applied energistics. How are we going to do this? We'll put it here. Yeah, that way we can have the flux cable up the back here. I don't have this planned out, so I'm kind of winging it. Okay, we plug this in. We've got a cable right here. And actually, I'm going to immediately move this cable back 1 block. We can hide it with facades in the wall. This thing does work with vanilla redstone, but we're in modded Minecraft, right? We might as well use integrated dynamics. It's going to make things a lot cleaner as well if we do it this way. So we're going to have a redstone writer on the dispenser, then a logic cable, and then a world reader on the other side. And actually just below these two, we'll put the variable store. And then inside the world reader, we want to read if the weather is raining. This is going to give us true or false, or if the weather is thundering, also giving us a true or false. We want to make sure that it outputs redstone if either of these are true. I don't know if when it's thundering, it also counts as if it's raining. I assume so, but just to be safe, we'll use the OR operator. So the original 2 variables go in the variable store, and the one we just made goes in the redstone writer. You can see here it's false since it's sunny outside. But the last thing we have to do is hook up the interface here. Request our sunflowers. And this should mean that it keeps it stocked full of flowers. We don't have to manually feed this thing. Yeah, so now whenever it's raining, this guy's going to get a little flower. And we're happy. Just have to add some facades to the back. Yeah, much better. I'm kind of surprised that no one pointed out the flaw in this system that we made, I think it was last episode, this agglomeration plate. But the blocking mode on this pattern provider won't actually work, right? Since blocking mode only affects the blocks that are next to the pattern provider, or basically the interface that this thing gives its items to. Blocking mode will only send 1 recipe at once. However, if we request 2 terra steel now, oh, and we don't have our magnet on. If we request 2 terra steel, watch what happens. Yeah, it overfills this agglomeration plate, in which case it just completely halts the craft. So either we have to craft 1 at a time, which is what I done last episode, but that's not really ideal, is it, right? We want a solution for this. So the solution is to move this pattern provider up a block and enable blocking mode, put the pattern back inside. Instead, we'll use a vanilla hopper. This way we can disable this with redstone. And to do that, we'll use another redstone writer. We'll need 1 more variable store. We can put that in the corner here. Unfortunately, this is going to throw it off center. It's not going to be symmetrical anymore. I don't think there's a lot we can do about that. We have a cable back here, and that has to be here. But yeah, we can hook all of these items up together. And then just in front of this agglomeration plate, we can put an entity reader. This will be able to detect if there's anything on the agglomeration plate. Obviously, we can't drop this straight on a pressure plate. That would have been easiest. But this is, I think, the next easiest way to do this. So we're going to take the entity list. If, for example, we had a mana pearl on the plate here, it would show as mana pearl, the first item in the list. Every single recipe on the agglomeration plate is always 3 inputs, which makes this very easy. Basically, all we have to do is, if there is 3 inputs on this, then block the hopper and send a redstone signal. If there's less than 3 inputs, then allow it to pass through and drop the next item. So we want to make sure that the list length, we can type len, we get a list length operator here. List length is going to give us an integer. We need an integer value of 3. And then if the list length equals 3, that's going to give us a boolean. The boolean we can just put in the redstone writer. And I think that is us done. The rest go in the variable store. And now when we request 2 terasteel, it should only drop 1 set at once. It's going to wait until it crafts. Then we get the second set, and it crafts the second terasteel. Nice. Nice. Very simple. Although, yeah, it's not symmetrical anymore, but I'd rather take this than a flawed system. But yeah, I did fill out these simulation chambers with the Terra cubes. I think we got 5 in total. And of course we have some partition cells. I hooked up the clay inserts on the last belt input, the same as we have on the emeralds with the level emitters. And I think we can call Block Factory 2.0 completed. Now just to see if it's going to be sufficient or not, that I'm not sure about. We may have to speed this up in the future, although we're already at 23 red sand. If we had just one more, that would be 12 ATM stars. I actually don't know how many ATM stars we need total. The stars, in case it wasn't clear, are used for all the creative items. There are actually quite a few creative crafts in this. Anyways, this is also a good point to wrap up the episode. I just want to mention there will be an extra day, so Tuesday will be the next upload. There's some things IRL have to take care of outside of the game. I've been going really hard playing this game. And I already kind of felt a bit rushed with this episode. I want to make sure I can make these the best they can be. Anyways, that is going to do us for today. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.